Welcome to the counselor overview for entering otoacoustic emissions information into the profession report, as well as managing the OAE settings. We'll begin by showing how data can be entered, and then we'll show how these specific OAE frequencies can be modified by default in the system. So we'll start by jumping into the audiogram screen within the patient visit screen. And we'll scroll down to the subtest area and click directly onto otoacoustic emissions. In this area, you can see you can choose your OAE type. You can choose between distortion product and transient evoked, and then you can choose your test protocol, screening 6 or 12. If your test protocols do not exactly match to 6 or 12, that's fine. You can enter as much as is there. So let's take, for example, screening. So you go ahead very simply and you go ahead and set that. And you'd set that for each ear. So once you enter the first, you jump to the other ear and make that selection. When we get to the 6 or 12 frequency, there is a tool in place that can speed up this process. So if we, for example, if we had all absent OAEs, we could set the first, set 1K as absent, and then click set all. Or if maybe all except for 2 were absent, well then we'll go ahead and do that, have go cross, and then it's just quicker to get those updated. Okay, same thing goes for the 12 frequency, for example. You can go ahead and put in what you need, have that copy out across different frequencies. Okay. Now, when we look at these specific frequencies, we may note is that, well, I should mention that these can be modified, right? And actually, I apologize, before we talk about modifying those, I should mention that once you've made changes here, you do want to make sure you click Save, Continue Editing, or if you click Continue Main Screen, it'll save your work and then take you back to the main screen. So you do want to lock this in before you leave counselor, for example. So you just click Continue Main Screen, for example. Now, as far as the those crossover frequencies for the OAEs, let's go up here under Administration in the top menu bar, and then we can slide down here to OAE Configuration. Okay, this is where you're going to see the specific settings that will then be reflected in that audiogram screen. So the place where you're just working, we'll see that. This is where you can set those up. So you can see here, for example, they skipped number 4, so we likely would correct that, right? This is someone who is just testing something out, and probably later on would say, hey, I should probably, correct this and get these in order. But point being is you can situate these however you like. You can do decimals if you like, so that this actually reflects the specific frequencies that you need. And typically, you're going to look at your test equipment as a reference point there, right? So let's just say I'm going to leave it at that point, or you could obviously make that more fine-tuned from there. Obviously, you can make any changes to the 6 and the 12, and once you've made those changes, you go ahead and click Save, and once again, that will lock it in. So as soon as you jump back to a patient encounter, you'll see these same frequencies in place. It can be used right away. Of course, if you have any questions about this process, please let us know. Now, I also want to mention one last thing, in that if you do have an OAE printout that you have, or you're gathering from your OAE equipment, oftentimes it may be within the NOAA module, for example, that OAE test equipment may have a really lovely printout you'd rather use, right? Rather than putting the test data directly into counselor. That's perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and jump back into this visit here. And what we'll see, and this is sort of an offshoot of this conversation about OAEs, but like I said, if you'd rather not enter absence, present, or the data there into counselor, you could always upload that attachment as a file, right? So what you do is you would take the OAE module, say from NOAA, get their PDF printout, maybe save that to your desktop, and then load that right here to your professional report in counselor. It's going to put that report you gathered through the OAE module. It's going to connect it up to the counselor report, so that way they're all together in one go. And you're not re-entering data, and you're getting the OAE report kind of at its best, right? Straight from that OAE manufacturer module. So a couple options there, entering it directly into counselor, as well as uploading an attachment if you prefer. So of course, if you have any questions about any of these options, please give us a call, email us, live chat with us. We are always happy to help. So thank you very much for joining us for the counselor overview on otoacoustic emissions.